All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Northwestern Ontario Region's Pitch It event. Tonight, we have 4 entrepreneurs vying for over $8,500 in cash and prizes, including a $5,000 first place cash prize. My name is Mike Greaves. I'm your host for this evening. Thank you for joining us. You know, being an entrepreneur and hosting like a competition or awards show for entrepreneurs, it's a little bit like Billy Crystal hosting the Oscars. There's a big part of you that kind of wants to be on the other side, but then you realize like running everyone's show and writing bad jokes is a lot more fun. But truthfully, it's a privilege for me to be here this evening because I get to share the stage, the Zoom stage, with 4 very accomplished entrepreneurs. So I'm really excited for tonight's event. There's over 30 applications in the Pitch It competition. There was interest from all over Northwestern Ontario, and some of the businesses and ideas that contributed applications included tourism resorts, personal fitness and finance, app development and web building, even local food manufacturing. But we have the top 4 today here to pitch it to our judges. Now, it's important to note here, these are our judges. They are not sharks. They are not dragons. They will not threaten nor attack, but they are judges, and they will ultimately decide all of fate. I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge the organizing partners that put the whole event together. Without these organizations and their staff, this event wouldn't take place. So these include Northwestern Ontario Innovation Centre, Northern Ontario Angels, Northwest Business Centre, Patricia Area Community Endeavours, Chikuni Community Development Corporation, City of Kenora, and City of Dryden. Please give a respectful nod to these organizations for helping us host the event. Here's how this evening is going to unfold. I'm going to introduce you to each finalist when it is their turn to present. The presenter has a maximum of 5 minutes to pitch it to the judges. After 5 minutes, the judges will have an opportunity to comment or question to the presenter. Following the question and answer period, we'll move on to the next presenter. Once we've heard from all the finalists, the judges will escape, they will deliberate, and they will return to announce the 3rd, 2nd, and 1st place winners. Please join me in introducing our judges for this evening. We have Chris LeBlanc. He is the CEO of Superior Airways from Red Lake. He's a former vice president of Northern Waterworks, and he currently owns Medicine Stone Resort and Outpost, Superior Airways, Chima Lodge and Outposts, and Bounty Gold Corp. Chris, welcome. With us from Dryden is Roger Gould. Roger is the business development manager for Perrin Contracting. He's currently a board member with Patricia Area Community Endeavours and a member of the Dryden Rotary Club. Joining us is Nicole Brown from Kenora. Nicole is the COO of FSET. FSET is an industry leader in transformative technology and is the 2019 winner of the RBC Innovation Company of the Year Award. Our 4th judge is Jennifer Horton. She is the owner of Curvy Chick in Fort Frances. Curvy Chick is an established clothing boutique in downtown Fort Frances since 2013. All right, we're going to jump right into our first finalist. Our first finalist this evening is Jonathan Woolley. His company is Guaden Knives. Guaden Knives is focused on making custom and batch knives for customers. They also do custom metalwork to create hand-forged decorative pieces, keychains, and bottle openers. Over the past year of being in business, Guaden Knives has built a returning clientele that has appreciated the quality and uniqueness of their products.
How does this become this, become this, become this? Well, I'm Jonathan Woolley, and at Guaden Knives, we make this possible. We believe that nothing works better for you than something made with you. At Guaden Knives, we currently work with clients to create custom and handmade hunting and everyday carry knives. The process is done collaboratively, starting with the idea and following it through to completion. Currently, I service primarily clients in Northwestern Ontario. However, I do have clients across Canada, both in Ontario and British Columbia. Over the past 5 years, I've predominantly been producing knives as a hobby for friends and family. However, with their encouragement, last spring, I began the process of selling my knives. Within 10 months of sales, I had already sold 11 custom blades. Also, with 2 more commission pieces currently in the works. So what makes knife making such an interesting market, especially in Northwestern Ontario? Well, in 2020, the market value for the knife making industry was roughly $12 billion. This is largely thanks to the success of shows like Forged in Fire, which thrust knife makers into the spotlight. During this time, custom knife sales had also increased over 71% from the previous year. So who's using these custom knives? Well, anyone really. However, the industry I'm primarily focused on is hunting and fishing. In a 2019 study, it was highlighted that 2.97 million Canadians were fishing and 1.27 million Canadians were hunting. This is a large market that I am looking to tap into. Over the initial 5 years of making my knives as a hobby, I invested roughly $2,500 into either purchasing or making the necessary tools. On average, I sell my knives, depending on the size, for about $175 to $250. I am currently at the point now where the next level tools are required. Currently, in order to continue to grow my business, I will need to invest in additional funds to purchase these tools. The current prize money would cover these costs and allow my business to grow. You might ask, how will it help my business grow? Well, through the purchase of these tools, my business will grow in 3 different ways. It'll increase productivity, increase reliability and quality in the blades I make, and diversify my product line. Currently, I'm limited to the number of blades I can complete at one time due to the limited tools I have. Additionally, I am limited to the style of steel that I can use, such as high carbon steel. In order to dive deeper into the fishing market through the making of fillet knives, for example, I would need these tools in order to make stainless steel blades. And currently, this is impossible with the tools I have on hand. Within our region, there are many hunters and anglers that I would like to reach. Within the next 12 months, I would like to grow my business by continuing to provide custom knives while also getting into the market of creating batch knives. These batch knives will be a custom design made by myself. However, there will be many more of them completed at the same time. This process will increase the speed in which the manufacturing stage is done. And it allows me to open up the market of selling at outdoor stores. Again, the next level tools will be required to make this possible. Much of my current marketing has been done through word of mouth. However, moving forward in the next 6 months to a year, I will be pushing more on social media in 2 different ways. I currently use Instagram to promote my work and share with other knife makers. Through Instagram, I can promote my business by holding a follow, share, tag contest for one of my blades. This will increase my followers while also reaching potential clients for future purchases. In addition to the Instagram contest, I will also promote through hunting and fishing YouTube channels. These YouTube channels have enormous followers. By providing one of these YouTubers with one of my knives, I can then have them showcase it on their channel, which will in turn increase the traffic to my site and Instagram page, again, increasing the audience for potential clients. So just imagine developing your idea into a reliable tool that can be passed down from generation to generation, creating memories along the way of the tough hunt or the big fish. And remember, nothing works better for you than something made with you. So let's get making.
I look to the judges. Nicole, please go ahead.
So my question for you is, you talked about 11 blades and 2 more in production, but you didn't say how much more you're able to scale with it.
So right now, with the blades, because I'm using primarily just a forge to heat up one blade at a time, I have to have it at a certain temperature for the certain steel I'm using. With the introduction of higher end tools, for example, a heat treating oven, I'm able to put in multiple blades at once to get to a certain temperature to then quench, which, let's say, so heating up, quenching, and then tempering a blade, it would normally take about roughly 2 hours to do that, plus another hour for tempering. With the tempering oven being able to put in, say, five blades, then I could have 5 blades done in 2 to 3 hours instead.
That was really interesting. Thank you so much. I just had a question because I'm not familiar with, the cost of knives and hunting. Like your price points, are those, pretty standard for custom knives? And if you're doing batch knives, like what kind of price points are you going to be looking at?
Yeah, so I've got a couple
those?
examples. So for example, this is I have my virtual background on. There we go. This is a hunting knife, and it's done through stock removal, so it's not quite as labor intensive as some knives. So on average, something like this, this is a commissioned piece right now. This would go for about $200 to $250, and which is on average with industry standards. With something more along the lines of this, I'm not sure if you can see. So this is called a sand my blade. So it's actually taking 3 different pieces of metal, forging them together by hand, and then basically shaping it and taking stock off to make the shape. Something like this would be around $400 to $500. Not something I'm into right now. This one's more of my piece that I created for myself, just because it's, me learning the craft and developing my skills along the way.
Actually, good presentation. The question I've got is with regards to employees. Do you have any consideration on hiring and training?
At this point, not right now. If I were to get into maybe more batch knives, that's something I could possibly hire out or source out, because I can get into using, say, water jet or laser cut plate steel, which would be a lot faster and actually cheaper in the long run. But with something where I'm at right now, I'm more of just a startup getting ready to go, and it's just myself. So right now, because I'm a teacher, I'm able to do a lot of the work during the summers and kind of over the Christmas holidays and March break. Okay,
thank you.
Thank you very much for your presentation. It was quite insightful. My question is with regard to the batching of the knives. What would that increase your production per month up to with the initial investment moving towards that?
So with the batch knives, I have done like a mini batch for a client in Southern Ontario, where he commissioned 4 pieces from me, exactly the same for himself and 3 of his friends. And it's actually quite a bit faster when you get into the batch knives, because you're doing the same step. So you can leave your tools set up specifically for that step before you have to change it. So a lot of the main tool I use is called a belt grinder. It's a 2x72 belt grinder. It hogs off a lot of the steel. So I can actually have the angle set to whatever bevel size they want on their blade. So I can do all 4 of them at the same time before changing the tool. So saves kind of going back. When I do one knife, oh, now I'm going to go do a different style of knife, come back and have to change everything. So not sure what the time frame kind of decreasing it would provide me with, but it would definitely speed up the process. And especially if I get into kind of sourcing out the laser cutting of a blade that I've designed. I do use AutoCAD to design my knives, so it's something that's pretty transferable into an industry that does manufacturing.
All right, thank you very much. That wraps up our first presentation. Thank you, Jonathan. I'd like to introduce our second finalist. We have Michael and Leanne Fournier from Brush Ballisters. Brush Ballisters is a made-by-nature alternative for baluster and railing systems used in indoor and outdoor lofts, decks, and stairways. Brush offers an authentic, renewable, and sustainable building product choice that will appeal to people demanding more ecological products for building and renovating. Michael and Leanne, please take it away.
We're Michael and Leanne Fournier, and we want to put a sustainable, made-from-nature baluster and railing system in your hands and on your deck. With its natural look and feel, Brush Balusters adds an artisan, rustic finish to cottages, country homes, and public spaces. It also offers a renewable, sustainable choice for those who demand more ecological products for building and renovating. Brush Balusters and railings are made from new growth willow, poplar, pine, and harvested from sustainable sources along road allowances, hydro lines, and clear-cut areas. This nuisance brush, new growth, is often cut, burned, or mulched by heavy machinery to stop new vegetation from disrupting human activity. Out of necessity for over 30 years, we repurposed things to solve problems. An outgrown swing set became a rickshaw. A trampoline became a holder for firewood. A decommissioned schoolhouse became our cabin, and eventually our home. And then there was that pile of brush on the side of our access road we fashioned for our deck. 12 years later, Brush Balusters was born. Brush Balusters fills the need to provide more ecological choices. within the building and renovating industry and put pride back into doing it yourself. Our goal is to give customers the experience of building something that feels like it was custom made. Our balusters will have some of the same installation features as other products in the marketplace, so the consumer only has to choose between a product that is ecological and one that is not. The balusters may even be adaptable to custom competitors' railing system for indoor and outdoor use. Deck, fence, and specialty construction companies that sell maintenance-free will be significant competitors, as well as traditional treated products from lumber yards and hardware stores. Glass, metal, and treated wood products come with a degree of environmental harm and can be a liability in the end. At end of use, brush products can be returned to nature, repurposed, or enjoyed at a campfire. Brush will be different by claiming an ecological edge and an easy assembly process. Our aim is to emphasize choice for a product the owner will be proud to care for. Monetization will occur through online and direct sales. We'll be looking at specific ways to package and ship sustainably so as to maintain our environmental philosophy. An average deck will require 10 6-foot sections for a total sale of $2,800. This is competitive with similar hardware store and lumber yards for a full between the post system. In year one, we are projecting sales of $112,000. Additional revenue may include mulch sales and debarking and 3D design services.
Our market research shows some promising consumer trends. Learning new skills and quality control are key motivators for DIYers. Views about ethical and sustainable products and packaging continue to grow, and there's a renewed interest in simpler living. We will build an engaging e-commerce experience through the use of brushbalusters.ca that will feature interactive graphics, video, and virtual reality options to showcase and help customers visualize the line of natural wood products, installation features, and design ideas. This will be supplemented with AdWords and trade shows throughout Manitoba and all of Ontario. Social media will also be used extensively to provide fresh content and to engage with customers for feedback. Our big difference is that no two balusters and railings are alike. To achieve this, we are designing a proprietary harvesting and processing system that will manufacture a cleaner, bug-free, polished product offering different finishes and components. Our initial investment is $8,000, supplemented with just over $10,000 through the Northwest Innovation Center's Co-Starter program. We will need an additional $75,000 to complete our tooling, and a win today will go towards that.
We are creative innovators with 25 years experience in writing, design, and marketing. We know how to run successful businesses. Most importantly, make things and tell our story in a way that resonates with potential customers. Our goal is to finalize our harvesting and manufacturing process and deliver our MVP by end of 2022. We'll then continue conversations with municipalities, hydro, and other potential partners for harvesting and seasoning raw material. By marrying good design, function, and ecological choice, Brush Balusters gives our customers the option to get creative in a way that suits how they want to build and live. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Michael and Leanne. Judges?
Great presentation. Thank you very much for taking the time to be here this evening and present to us. I was wondering what your time frame from when you scale up to what you're looking for after the initial investment, your time frame to entering market with those new products and the scaled up product are.
2022 is going to give us the time, weather dependent on gathering raw materials. 2023 looks really exciting to actually introduce them. There's going to be a bit of a seasoning process to the end product. So will we need to, how long that will take? A few months is what our product needs to season properly. So it needs to dry out to a lesser moisture content is what it needs. So 2023 is a real potential.
Roger, go ahead, please.
As far as your manufacturing, where will you be doing the manufacturing and what kind of a facility do you have?
Currently, we've been putting most of this together on our acreage north of Kenora. And here we're kind of tucked away. We have enough space to actually gear up in a kind of like a micro manufacturing scenario. I don't think it's going to be it's not the long-term solution. We're hoping that there's a few, it's going to turn into a commercial or an industrial location that will accommodate the increased capacity to produce material. So how long we're going to be here? Not sure. Looking for space.
Jennifer, please go ahead.
Thank you. That is an amazing idea. I just had a question about your sources. Have you lined up where you're going to be getting your, like where you're harvesting from, and like what's kind of your backup plan?
Well, I'm driving all over Northwestern Ontario. I've spotted countless areas that we can harvest our resources, our raw materials, and really never touch the forest. We don't need to go into somebody else's logging rights. We just need to do what the cities or the municipality of Kenora and outlying areas need to do anyway, and that is maintain their road allowances. And in some cases, the hydro lines that crisscross Ontario and like a 4-lane highway can be accessed with certain vehicles to actually harvest from those points. It's just identifying an amount and the quality from those areas. But realistically, we never want to touch the virgin forest. We're always just into the maintenance areas of cities and towns.
Chris, follow up?
Yeah, I just have one quick follow-up question. It's due to my ignorance of the process. Could you utilize trees that had gone through a forest fire? And the reason I ask is some of my camps have gone through it. And I know when I cut that fire with the moisture content now is negligible. It's basically killed and dried sun after the fire with good solid wood underneath. It's wood that's just going to blow over and rot in due time anyway. So I was just wondering what the viability of using something such as the destruction of a forest fire to create these balusters.
Chris, I really love you asked that question, because that's actually a Japanese process for preserving wood. So some of that wood's going to last a very long time if it manages to stay relatively dry. And so, yes, that would be something we'd actually harvest. How much of it can we actually, it's a specialized application, but if you go to Broken Canoe, somebody did it to that restaurant and they burnt the outside of that restaurant, and it's beautiful. And I forget the name of the Japanese process. It's got an interesting name that, well, I'm not Japanese, so I don't pronounce it very well.
It sure does.
Yes, so no, I'd love to talk to you.
Yeah, we'd like you would.
We are going to move on to our third finalist. I'd like to introduce Jenna McCafferty with Awakened Roots. Awakened Roots focuses on brewing water kefir, a traditional fermented soda that has more strains of probiotics than any other fermented food or drink that exists. Awakened Roots has an established retail location in downtown Dryden, but hopes to increase production and distribution across Northwestern Ontario region. Jenna, the floor is yours.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jenna McCafferty, and my business is Awakened Roots Holistic Healing in Dryden, Ontario. And the product that I'm here to tell you all about today is our probiotic water kefir soda, and really excited to share with you guys the value that this product has. So millions of Canadians are suffering with digestive health issues every year. This is costing the Canadian economy billions of dollars annually, and it's also causing, obviously, a real decrease in quality of life for anybody who is suffering. So you might be wondering what is going on with our guts. The best I can tell you in such a short amount of time is that all of us sitting here tonight, the average adult, we all have approximately 4 pounds of bacteria that live inside of us. These can be healthy and helpful bacteria, and they can also be harmful bacteria. So harmful bacteria come in by way of processed foods, drugs, alcohol, overuse of medications, pollutants in the air, pollutants in the water, and of course, stress. And now the healthy bacteria, the way that we're primarily getting these into the system would be through a clean organic diet. So fruits and veggies grown in the earth, animals that feed off of the earth and that we consume would then traditionally be transferring these healthy bacteria from the soil into us. Now, there's a couple of issues with this, being that, of course, not everybody is privileged enough to be able to afford a clean organic diet. Even those who are, we're now seeing soil that is severely depleted of healthy microbes and healthy nutrients from even just a few decades past. So another way that we can really get these healthy probiotics into the system is through fermented food and drink, which is what I'm here to share with you guys today. Cultures around the world, they have fermented foods and drinks as staples in their diets. Canada, because we're a bit younger of a country, we don't necessarily have a whole lot of food culture. So unless we really know the value of these probiotics, we're not necessarily getting fermented food and drink in our diet unless we're actively seeking them out. And truly, gut health is at the forefront of research when we're talking about modern health and wellness. And it's showing that issues with the bacteria in our system not only are impacting digestive functioning, but also have a direct relationship to our mental health, to hormone levels, and probably most importantly today, to our immune function. So 70% of our immune system lives in the gut. And again, we can all see how this is more important now than ever before. So where we come in. So if I told you that just 1/4 cup of our water kefir soda contains billions of probiotics, would you be interested? And if I also told you that water kefir has more strains of probiotics than any other fermented food or drink out there. Typically, yogurt has 1 or 2, sauerkraut has a few, kombucha has around 8. Water kefir has over 30 strains of diverse probiotics. So it clearly gives it the advantage when we're talking about kicking some of those bad bacteria out and getting the healthy ones in. So I hope you can see why this product has more value today, probably than ever before, why I stand behind this product so fully, why it has allowed me to go from just a few years ago brewing a few liters a week in my kitchen for myself and my friends and family to slowly seeing the demand for and the benefits of it ripple out into the community. And it's what gave me the confidence at the start of 2020 to take on a commercial space for the first time. Now, unbeknownst to me, the first month into our commercial lease was in March when COVID hit. So I can honestly say my first year of business ownership was not like anything I ever could have imagined. But I truly believe that I was able to overcome the obstacles and the challenges because of my own belief in the product. And definitely because it speaks for itself. Customers are benefiting almost immediately, and of course, even more benefits as the long term goes on. So we have a strong and solid customer base in Dryden. And now I will just say too, we overcame another huge hurdle the following spring of 2021, when we unexpectedly had to relocate the business. So I saw myself for the second time in a 16-month period, putting all of my resources and all of my savings into backing this business because I believe in it so much. And again, I genuinely have the aspiration to help people. So now we're set up in our new location. Again, solid customer base in Dryden. We're brewing and selling approximately 250 to 300 liters each month, but this is the capacity for brewing.
Jenna, my apologies. I need to stop you. We're going to move to questions from the judges. Nicole, go ahead, please.
Hi there. Thank you for your presentation. I do have a question for you. So I'm really well versed in the marketplace for this. And my question for you is, how much sugar is in this product? Because that's always one of those, no one really talks about how much sugar is in a product. So how much sugar is there?
Yes, absolutely. It's a question that we get asked all of the time. And it's a tricky spot with fermentation. The longer that the process goes on, of course, the more sugar that is eaten up in it. So we're constantly trying to find that balance with the health unit where it can't be obviously too fermented, but obviously fermented enough that we can have most of the sugars out it. So we haven't gotten to the stage of having it actually officially tested yet. I would say in the recommended quarter cup a day, we're looking at 2 to 3 carbs of sugar maximum. And we do also give customers the knowledge that if they want to ferment it a little bit further at home, that is their right to do so. I believe that the benefits do outweigh the sugar content, but yeah, thank you.
Chris.
Again, thank you very much for your presentation. My question is, I was curious what the shelf life of the finished product is after the fermentation and sealing process.
Yes, thank you. The shelf life of it, when it's kept cold, it lasts very well for about 5 to 6 weeks in the fridge. Again, it ferments slowly over time, but it keeps really well for that period of time.
Thank you for all that information. I just have a question about your plans for the future. Like, are you planning to expand, or do you already sell to other than Dryden?
Yes, that is the big plan. Again, we are at capacity right now with the equipment that we're working with. So I'm seeking the support today so that we can purchase new equipment with plans that if we can get this new equipment going in the next month or two, if we can bring on a staff member, if we can rebrand and repackage this product, that I can essentially triple production and sales by this fall. And we do have, again, a strong base in Dryden, but I do have customers from different communities constantly messaging and retailers who are ready and waiting for this product. It's just a matter of getting the proper equipment and support on our end.
Nicole, a follow-up?
So when you say you have folks who are interested in such as retail, do you have signed POs?
No, I don't. I've been hesitant because I want to make sure on my end that I have everything in place to be able to deliver. It's been tempting to go forward, but until I have the new equipment in place and ensure that I can brew the quality that I want, I don't want to make any commitments to people, but it will come soon now that we're a little bit more stable.
Chris, go ahead.
I was curious what kind of capital investment you're looking for. Would the prize money be enough to do it, or would you be requiring additional?
Yeah, at this stage, the prize money would be amazing. It would basically cover it. I mean, outside of staffing, which is an ongoing expense, but the equipment that we're looking at is about $2,500. The rebrand would be about $15,000, and for new packaging and the new inventory and packaging about $2,000. So just a little bit shy of the prize money. We do have longer term plans to maybe even scale up further in a year or two, but that would be a whole other step. But for our next step, the prize money would be amazing.
All right. Thank you very much, Jenna.
Thank you.
I would like to introduce our fourth finalist for the evening. Please welcome Ben Fegan Jr. of Agritech North. Agritech North is an Indigenous, disabled, and LGBTQ2 owned social enterprise that is a first of a kind, wholesale scale, year-round grower of fresh produce in Northwestern Ontario. They produce more than 500 pounds of leafy greens and fruiting crops, plus 4,500 ounces of herbs every week. Their social mission is to lower Indigenous people's produce by 25% and increase availability of fresh produce year-round. Ben, take it away.
So as I said, my name is Ben Fagan. I got my bachelor at the University of British Columbia, my master's at Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute. I've worked at Stantec Consulting as an architect and engineer. I've also worked at the U.S. Department of Energy, Pacific Northwest National Lab as a research scientist and developed novel apparatus that allowed us to answer research questions that couldn't be answered with off-the-shelf equipment. I've also worked for manufacturers, helping them scale up from small to large scale production by integrating across their CRM, ERP, and accounting software platforms. At our facility, our pilot facility at 250 Duke Street, which is an old Parks Board building that we've converted into a vertical farming facility. We will be using the ZipGrow vertical farming system, which is a hybrid between aeroponics and hydroponics. Aeroponics being suspended in air, hydroponics being suspended in water. It allows us to grow about a total of 450 kilograms of produce, which feeds meets the dietary requirements of about 400 to 500 families. on the fresh produce side. And all of this technology uses 90% less water, 60% less nutrients, and 0 pesticides, herbicides, or fungicides. These factors combine to make us better than organic. We are not a technology company, we're a service company. We're creating a center of excellence for food security. What I mean by this is we're validating technologies and combinations of technologies and inventing new technologies that facilitate integration in order to increase the economic viability of growing in the far north. All this to make it easier for First Nations communities to be able to bring this back for local production. This will enable them to essentially take control of their own food security. And this has national implications. The truth is there's no silver bullet technology that's going to solve food security. And that's why we're looking at the combinations and validation of technologies. As a social enterprise, our social mission is to lower fresh produce costs in far north Indigenous communities by 25% and increase access year round, as Mike alluded to. And we are also registered as a B Corp or beneficial corp with additional metrics in education, sustainability, and workplace diversity, equity, and inclusion. On the education side, we're working with Dryden High School. We're about to be installing a system for them to integrate vertical year-round farming into the curriculum starting this fall. We're also working with the Kenora Jail on a recreation program and a post-incarceration path to employment. On the sustainability, we're working with alternative energy sources that are first of kind for vertical farms, and also developing 100% OK Compost home certified packaging materials for food distribution throughout the region that are first of kind. In addition to that, we also have a trademark brand and tagline. And I hate talking business numbers, but I know we have to. We're a $1.35 million startup. We have 6 business sponsors. We also have 8 granting agencies from a variety of platforms, including municipal, provincial, and federal. And we also have 3 major lenders. These major lenders have reviewed us in excruciating detail and determined that this particular proposal is a sustainable business model, and we can fulfill our promise of food security for the region. We have an 80-20 market split between wholesale and retail, and we extend wholesale pricing to far north communities as we engage people through an e-commerce platform on both the wholesale and retail levels. We have margins of about 25 to 500%, depending on whether that's wholesale or retail, with leafy greens being on the low end and herbs being on the high end. With the grant money from this endeavor, we hope to buy a new auto seeder, which will increase efficiency and also allow us to lower costs partially as a result. We always tie grant funding to lowered costs. We do publish our financials relative to our metrics of our B Corp registration. Any questions?
Roger, please go ahead.
One of the comments that you made, Ben, was pilot facility.
Yes.
Are you manufacturing on site in the northern communities? Is that what your intention is, or are you just going to be working out of the Dryden location?
So we, as I alluded to with national implications, we're actually working, our facility is essentially a center of excellence that people come to train, experience multiple technologies, see how they work together, learn about them and how they may apply to their own communities. And we help them configure future facilities to be able to grow multiple crops, food and non-food crops, using combinations of growing technologies that'll facilitate that purpose, because there is no one technology that's going to solve food security for that community. And so we have a hub and spoke business model, and the spokes are essentially Indigenous community members that work with us that want to bring that technology or combinations of technologies back to their communities to establish local production. We also have a partnership with 3 Points in Space Media, and we'll be doing the first of kind in this region, food distribution with their drones, which is currently ready to go for our first harvest in May. And so it'll halve the cost of distribution to food for far north communities. And actually it'll be cheaper as long as the Nutrition North subsidy exists. It'll actually lower the price of food when we use drones. It'll lower the price of food when we use drones. And as a result, it'll work negatively against local production communities. So we'll also be lobbying to allow communities to use the Nutrition North subsidy when food is grown locally. So there's some problems there. It's a very political issue, but does that answer your question? The facility is currently under renovations. Anybody is welcome to come by and take a look. I know you guys aren't far away, so if you're in Dryden, give me a ring.
Thank you, Jonathan, Michael and Leanne, Jenna, and Ben, for all your great work. Congratulations on everything you've accomplished this far. Our judges are now in deliberations. Please stand by.
Our work doesn't stop at readying the store, loading the vans, or building networks. Being part of T-Baytel means being part of giving back. That's why we've grown T-Baytel for Good, to support you, our neighbors, by sponsoring local teams and events, through the funding of grassroots projects, by volunteering a helping hand, and through the partnerships we build. Our work doesn't stop until we're a little closer to a better neighborhood for all. T-Baytel for Good. We're in it together.
Welcome back. Our judges have reached their verdict. Nicole, I give you the floor to announce the winners on behalf of the judges.
Great, thank you. First and foremost, we wanted to say that this was a great experience, and there was certainly not a lack of quality. Every single entrepreneur did an incredible job tonight. And without further ado, the third place winner is Giwaden Knives. The second place winner is Brush Baluster. And the first place winner for identifying capital needs and using them for immediate scale is Awaken Roots.
In addition to the cash prizes, you will all receive professional development support and services from the group of organizing partners and sponsoring businesses. So to close it out, I'd like to thank everyone who applied to Pitch It. Thank you to the finalists for showcasing their businesses, ideas, and expansion plans. We're all inspired, and good luck to all of you. Thank you to the judges who graciously volunteered their time. Thank you to the organizing groups once again, and thank you for tuning in. Be well. Good night.